Yo guys, what's up? My name's Dean and I'm an SEO here in Melbourne, Australia. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to rank a university website on the first page of Google. Now, why should you trust me? I've been doing SEO professionally for around 7 years. On top of that, I've also dabbled, in websites for all around 10 years. So I've been doing SEO for a while, but most importantly, for the past around 2 years, I was actually working in the university space, and I also have friends that have collaborated on projects with in the TAFE space and the course space as well. So welcome to my home office, and basically we're going to jump right into it. Now, there's obviously in this particular strategy, I'm going to sort of be looking at the current top 10 results and what I would do, to the top 10 university sites in for different keywords. So we're going to look at keywords like MBA, we're going to look at keywords like data science, we can look at HR. So we can look at all these different keywords, and we can look at what sort of a strategy, if I was a university, what I would actually be doing to actually rank, right? Because there's so much opportunity, and obviously the next thing we can sort of talk about is why are we talking about universities, right? Because well, it's just an interesting campaign for me. And if you think about a university, how a university can deliver its services, it can deliver a course in person, it can deliver a short course, it can deliver a course online, right? And I sort of came to learn about the entire process. So maybe I can sort of start off actually explaining how the basic process when we jump on the computer of how a university actually generates students, and then we can actually talk about like an SEO strategy that I would really recommend for a university. Let's get straight into it.
All right, cool. So let's look at let's keep this real short and sweet, just so we can understand actually where SEO kicks in the student journey. So let's add a sticky note, right? This is a student, and the next thing he's going to do is he's going to come across some sort of ad, and then he's going to basically become a student. That's the simple buying process, right? At like from a simple standpoint, this student sees an ad from a university, and somehow he ends up becoming a student, right? He or she, yeah. So that's how it works. Now, obviously, there's a whole series of processes that happen in here, and there's a whole series of process that happens here, right? So what we're going to be covering right now is what does this part look like, because obviously explaining this sort of stuff here is after we've actually generated the lead. So the student comes and sees the ad, the student becomes a lead, and then that person becomes a student. So we're going to be covering everything and anything in between here. So let's just move down a little bit. So we're also going to look at this sort of funnel in a second, but just for today, what I want to look at is what are the possibilities. How does the student see an ad, right? Where is the student at, right? So we're going to touch on that in 2 seconds. All right, cool. So considering this, right, the student either sees an ad through Facebook, Google Ads, or SEO. That student then actually arrives to a landing page, right? What is that landing page? That's what we're going to talk about. And this will obviously all relate back to how SEO and how to rank on the first page. And that person becomes a student, right? Goes through the student buying process, which we're not going to touch on today because that's a whole different story. So these are all 3 different ways, and it's really, really important to understand that these 3 channels work alongside of each other. So for example, a student might and this whole process might look a lot different. So if I'm just to duplicate this, right, and just drag this, say, like up here, right? The interesting thing is that a student might see an ad on Facebook, then look up a blog, then come back to Google and end up, you know what I mean? And end up sort of clicking on an ad. And that might be the buying process. So what you really need to understand is that ranking on the first page of Google for the university space isn't just about considering search on its own. What this video is about is how does search relate to all of these different channels, right? Because in terms of the student journey, in terms of the student process of becoming an inquiry, there's endless possibilities, right? They may have seen an email, they may have clicked on, then seen an ad on Facebook, then may have gone to search, then may have clicked on a Google ad. Like there's no straight line for this to happen, right? But this is it at its basics. So let's sort of then move into like the funnel, right? So we sort of now understand that, this is the buying process of a student. Yeah. So a student can search simply a course on Google, then go to a landing page and then go through that inquiry process. A student might not be ready to buy or ready to become a student. That student might be wanting to actually just do some research, right? So this is where we sort of get into, which I'll just touch on and provide some examples, but this is where we sort of get into, I guess, awareness, consideration, conversion, right? So awareness could be like, how to become a teacher, right? This is just a real basic example. Consideration, what universities are the best to become a teacher or to study teaching? And then at the conversion process, masters of education or teaching or whatever, and then or online or just without online, right? So this is the SEO sort of funnel, if you like, and what you can end up doing is, which is really cool about the university space and the service-based business space as well, is that considering this funnel, if somebody was to Google this information and they weren't ready to, and they sort of weren't ready to inquire yet, you can actually retarget that audience. You and you're actually retargeting to a highly qualified audience, which is amazing, right? So this is where your retargeting happens here. So someone's looking how to become a teacher. They don't really fill out a form. They see the teaching ad on Facebook, and then they actually go back to the landing page and inquire, right? Which is awesome, which is what we want. Cool. So now that we sort of understand the actual journey of a student, how would I rank one of these universities' websites? So if I was to sort of start from scratch, now obviously I've only got like maybe 15 to 20 minutes to record this particular video. I would start off with a keyword plan. So I'll give you some examples. So back on the keyword plan spreadsheet. So what we can actually do is we can actually have a look at, there's three things that are really important. So course, right? It's course. Obviously keyword and volume. Keyword, what the keyword is and the volume of that keyword. But then you also want to look at, so like we said, top of funnel or awareness pieces, and then consideration. So we're going to take one particular course as an example. Awareness, I think I missed an E there. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, so we'll take one course as an example just to run through, okay? So for universities, you can, and it's really important for us to know, there's different touch points on how someone can actually inquire with the university. So they can go straight to the university website. So going back to the Miro board, this is where it gets a bit more complicated, right? Because if this is your student, so I'm going to copy this, bring it down here now that we understand the funnel, right? A student Googles best Masters of Education online. So the problem here is that it goes to a landing page, but what is that landing page, right? That landing page it can be a university, but at the same time, it can be something else. Which is really important to know, and this is totally relevant. So I'm just going to build this out and explain this for you guys, just because I'm not very good at this Miro arrows. So sometimes this can be the journey, right? And let me explain this. So if somebody types in, say, Masters of Education online, or just like Masters of Education, most times you're going to be presented with a university website, but sometimes people might say best Masters of Education, in which that you get sent to a listicle, right? And I'll show you an example now. All right. So the easiest one to understand is Masters of Education online. Let's just put these Google ads aside for now. But the thing that obviously makes the most sense is that there's universities showing up, right? So these are all pretty much university providers. So that makes sense, right? Where it gets a little bit confusing is that if someone obviously some people want to know what's the best course to do, right? Best master's degree. So you're getting served with what we call listicles, right? So these are just more like review channels, and then you read more, and then you end up getting sent back to the university in one way or another. Does that make sense? So this is where, when we're considering our keyword plan, we really have to consider the actual SEO journey, right? From bottom of the funnel and top of the funnel. Yeah. So that should actually say student, right? So when we're doing a keyword plan, we're really looking at what are the keywords that this particular university can rank for, right? So let's just take Masters of Education. Master of Education, that's a really good keyword. Master of Education online. And then you've got keywords like best Masters of Education. So to the naked eye, to someone without SEO experience, you might look at this and you'd be like, these are all the same thing. But in actual fact, these are not, right? Because what's really interesting is that if I just type in, say, if I go to Google and just type in Master of Education and remove out this, the online part, you're actually getting three different results. So Master of Education, you're getting, obviously this is probably inside the university being served on the premises. You're getting University of Melbourne, you're getting Vic Uni, La Trobe Uni, RMIT. When you type in best Masters of Education programs, you're getting listicles. And then when you type in Masters of Education online, you're actually getting served with an online version of SCU, an online version of ECU, and an online version of Canberra University, right? So these are three different queries, right? So you need to so what you really need to figure out as a strategy at a university is, this is the best traffic that you can get, and how are you actually going to be able to acquire that? And this is something that, in my opinion, the universities haven't figured out yet. Because if you're this Canberra online, you're not actually appearing anywhere on this particular page, right? If you're RMIT, then you're not appearing anywhere here, right? But in actual fact, I'm probably sure that RMIT may have an online version, right? Or you do want to show up for the online version, because you might be able to convince the students that, hey, you shouldn't really be doing this online. It actually might be better for you to actually come in and get the experience that way. So that's an interesting question, right? The way I would go about this is, you have two options. So we can actually just get some, I don't really think the search volumes are relevant, but I can just put the keywords here. So to get the search volume, you could just go to Ahrefs. You could just go to like Keyword Explorer if you wanted to, and just get type that in, Australia search, and then you can get like a search volume of like 1.6K. So that's a search volume. I think this one was like 400 or something, and then we can type in like best Masters of Education as well. So it's like 0 to 10. So a lot less volume according to Ahrefs, but I find that hard to believe. Let's just try to get like this one. So another way you can do it is just grab the keywords, go to Keyword Explorer, Site Explorer. Yeah, so keywords. I find doing it this way is a lot better. So this tool, Ahrefs, probably hasn't figured out that that the best is showing up in a different result, as you can see. Master's degrees in education. So we'll just say there's like 20 search volume. Okay, cool. So we'll just say something like that. Right. So, this is, you got to add it all up. How can you acquire all this traffic? So you could either, if you're a university, you could either do like 3 pages. So like, say university.com/ Master of Education. Master's Education, whatever. Masters of Education. You can try it like that, or you can just do like Masters-Education. And then you could do you could copy this and then do online /online. And then if you really wanted to, you could do a blog post that would be like top 10 top 10 education programs, something like that. So that's one way. That's probably not like a recommended way. It would probably just get really messy. These two sort of make sense and would need to be tested. But my way would be actually, so I'll just put like that could be like the university strategy. My way could also, another way you could do it, which I'd sort of prefer, is actually run 3 different websites. So obviously have your Masters of Education on university.com, build a subdomain to that university, and collaborate with this university, right? So work with this university to deliver this program online. And this is what's already happening here. But the issue is that does this link back to or provide an online version, right? Because some people might want to study this online. Learning mode on campus. So this might just be like an on-campus course. So let's take Canberra University, for example, right? So Canberra, we know Canberra does this online. We're losing out on a heap of traffic because that Canberra University is not actually showing up. So SCU is showing up here, which is really good. But having the actual Canberra University have a page here. So for example, you take this, right? This is the online version of Canberra. We actually go to the Canberra University page, actually getting them to rank a page on this website that just says Masters of Education, and then actually when you click on the page, it says like online, like study mode online, right? Because then that way they're actually able to acquire all that traffic, right? And you only need to provide that information once you're here, right? That's a really sneaky way of doing it. But you're gonna, like I say, you look at the actual the search volume difference. You're going to be able to quadruple the amount of searches coming to the university every single month, right? So that's that strategy, right? So that's how I would go about that. I would collaborate with the universities. I'd be like, hey, university, can you actually just build a page that talks about this Master of Education course. And then what I would do is I'd be like, all right, let's do like an online version of this course. So university.com/masters education. You don't really have to do online because online's in the URL already, but you could do that, right? That way, you're leveraging off this website to point to this website. And then what I would also do is I would also create a review website. So it could be like called universityreview.com/top 10 education programs, right? So these two will end up actually pointing to this. So if I was to show you in a Miro board, if a student types in 3 queries, so I'll just duplicate this again. So I'm just going to duplicate this. Cool. Not very good at this, so disclaimer here, guys. Obviously you can see I'm struggling. Not really artistic either. So if somebody types in best masters or Master of Education or Master of Education online, these are the 3 options, and the journey would look like this, right? Let's just say we're just selling the online course, right? Let's just pretend we're just selling the online course. Right, we want to sell the online course. That's our goal. And this is just an example of how I would go about it. Like I say, right? They Google this. So they Google these key terms via SEO. So obviously SEO should be there, right? So the journey of this one would be like, okay, we hit like a listicle. So a listicle is like something like this, right? We hit a listicle. So we work with one of these listing websites, or we actually create our own listing website. We create one of those. We basically preference our university at the top. We can also be fair and obviously list other relevant universities as well. And then we send that traffic to the university course. And then that person becomes a student, right? So I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm just giving it to you in a journey. Obviously, there's a sales cycle, as I mentioned. oops, that person becomes a student, right? So send it to the university course, whether it be relevant for like an online version or not. You could also add another step here, and then on the university page, which might just be like this one, have two options of on campus and online. And then if like I say, if we wanted to sell the online course, push it to the online version, and then get that student to become get that person to become a student. Man, it's not good, right? So that's the way I'd go about that, right? So let's say on the other instance, someone types in Masters of Education. So they're going, oh, I'm thinking about doing like a Masters of Education, right? What you can do is, like I say, partner with, if you're the online version of the university, partner with the main website. So like the on-campus site. Like, hey guys, like we're providing, you guys know that we provide this this version online. So let's take Canberra as an example. So the online version of Canberra University goes to Canberra University and is like, hey, we serve this online. I know we don't have an online version of this, but could you guys actually put a page on your website that's Masters of Education Online and actually link it back to our version of the page, right? So that way we, as an online version, we can get more students. So how does that look like? So again, someone types in Masters of Education, they see the main university website, right? So an example, they see Canberra University, right? Just a normal one, right? They visit this, and there's a page that says that it has like education, right? That on that page, it specifies that that this particular university doesn't provide it on campus and it's online, right? So what do? You then send these guys to the online version of Canberra, which is this one here, right? The online version. And then these people end up becoming a student, right? So that's how that works. That's really, really important to understand. And then obviously the last one is obviously quite obvious, right? If someone is just typing in Master of Education Online, there's a direct connection. So at this point, in my opinion, this is where the universities haven't actually fulfilled the strategy. And this is an awesome way to do it because you're actually tapping into all of, and I haven't seen any of the universities do this, right? So this is an awesome way for the universities to actually to acquire all the traffic and work together to actually get as many students in as possible. So that is actually what we just spoke about, was talking about conversion, the conversion process. Now, the awareness and consideration phase is a lot more simple, right? So yeah, I hope that actually, I'm pretty proud of that drawing now, which is great. So let's talk about the awareness and consideration. So if this, like, I might just, again, duplicate this just because it's easy for me to do it that way. So if some guy's Googling, and this is really easy. So if we consider, again, I'll try and bring the funnel over here if I can. Let's try and bring this over. Yeah. So this guy is in the awareness / consideration. We'll just group them to make this exercise easier. So thinking about a keyword plan, yep, we've got our keyword plan sorted. This is our strategy, or this is our strategy. Let's just say awareness, just for the sake of time in this video, because I didn't expect that to go that long. We'll just say awareness / consideration, right? What are the keywords that we need to look at? Let's go back to the board. So actually, we'll do the keywords first. So keywords would be like how to become a teacher. How much do I get paid as a teacher? Let's just take these two basic, real basic. Yeah. Okay. How to become a teacher? 600 searches per month, which is awesome. Right. And then how do I get paid as a teacher? Or how much do I get paid? Let's just Google that. How much do I get paid as a teacher? Teacher salary guide, teacher salaries, so teacher salaries, right? So that's the blog. Teacher salaries. Here it is. Okay, so best way to do this is get the blog, go back, go here, Site Explorer, put in there, go exact URL. Sometimes Google, this tool doesn't pick it up. There you go. Teacher salary Vic around 4.2K, 1.7K searches per month, right? Let's say that's the blog. 1,700. Established. These are basically our keywords for. These are our keywords for the bottom of funnel. These are our keywords for the top of funnel, middle of funnel, so awareness and consideration. So let's sort of consider the actual journey, right, of what that would look like. Now, I think we sort of established this before, but, you know, like I say, and we're actually going to go into the websites in about 2 minutes' time after I've explained this. So if someone types in, how much do I get paid as a teacher? You know, you really want to, the universities, they really want to be actually landing a blog on one of these pages and then providing those statistics and then sending the students back to the website, right? And you can apply this to teaching or any other vertical that you want to talk about. So, in my opinion, they type in the question. Let's keep this real simple. They type in the question as an example, how much do I get paid as a teacher? That's the question. They're in the awareness phase. They go back. They're scrolling on Facebook. They see an ad, right? So what do? Then they basically go from here. They might do this. Oops. So they might then Google Best Masters of Education. Land on a listicle. Click on the university website, and let's say we're wanting to sell the online version. They might go through this entire process again, right? So it's really, really important. It's really, really important that when you're thinking about an SEO strategy, it's really not just about ranking for this key term. It's about understanding the entire situation. What's the situation? What is the student even doing? Right? Where is he Googling? Right? So he asks a question, how much do I get paid as a teacher? Okay, he reads a blog, gets remarketed to on Facebook with like an ad. So like what an ad might look like is like if you go to ads libraries, you can just type in like, I don't know, you can just go here and then just type in, I don't know, like RMIT. And then these are the ads that are being retargeted, like being served to students, like all of these, right? Like all of these ones, or like you can do like any university, but these are like what are being served to the students. And then they come back and they'll be like, oh, I saw that ad. So I go back to Google, type in like what's the best Master of Education. They arrive to a listicle, and then they see the course options. And then if you're trying to sell the online course, then you can link it back to them. Or the student might even stop here, might want to do the normal course, right? So that is literally the entire funnel in a nutshell. So then how do we actually, like, what are the best practices to rank for a particular website? So let's go back to SEO. There's like two facets of this. We have our on-page SEO and we have our off-page SEO, right? Now, I'm just going to give you like the real basic stuff for the purpose of this video, and just like tell you what I would be looking at in terms of the universities. So on-page, off-page, right? On-page, off-page. Right, sorry for the caps, but I like caps. So let's type in a Masters of Business Administration. Business Administration, Master of Education online. Let's look at the top 3 results. 1, 2, 3. So I always use this tool called HTag. So Master of Education online. This one doesn't say Master of Education online, and this one says Master of Education online. So obviously, the first thing to look at is probably Google's preferring Master of Education online as opposed to not online. I mean, this website probably has a very high authority score, so that's probably potentially why and we'll prove that in a second. But the first thing that I would probably look at is actually having the H1 tag sorted. So H1 tag needs to be what the course is about. So I'm going to shift all this down a bit. Right, so your H1 tag is probably needs to be sorted. Let's have a look at the amount of content. So how much content does this website have? Okay, it's got a lot of content, which is great. This website doesn't have that. Oh, it's got some content. Yeah, it's got heaps of content, internal links. So they've all got a lot of content in the top 3. So if we consider one down the bottom, let's have a look at this Deakin one. Master of Education, Learning and Leadership. Yeah, it's still a good amount of content. It's a bit different. So H1's important. Amount of content is really, really important. In this one here, you're seeing that it's mentioned online Master of Education. Again, Master of Education online. It's actually saying the keyword in the content. A lot of content plus keyword in content. Right, we're looking at that. Those are your basic on-page factors, and then that's the last one. That's the last result. But another thing we're also seeing is all 3 of them have like FAQs, which is they've all got FAQs. So that's another one that you want to be looking at. If you're a university at the bottom and you don't have FAQs, you should do that. Right, FAQs, have a look at implementing that. We can look at more complicated things in a second, but having a look at your H2 tags, let's have a look. H2 interested, online, studying online. The H2 tags aren't really doing much in all the websites here. So the thing that I would do is probably change these H2 tags to have the keyword in them. Optimize H2 to have keyword. Right, to have the keyword in there. It's a really good idea. So I lost my video for a second there. Cool. So those are the basic things that you can sort of look at. Next thing is also the URL structure. Really interesting to see that this particular website is just master education. It's not even online. So it takes another one of these ones. Yeah. I mean, online's in the URL as well. So you need to consider based on your university website or your course online. Do you mention that, right? If you're an online course. So URL structure, really, really important. Right, these are all the things that I would consider. The next thing that I would also look at is there any like backend schema markup? So you can use a schema testing tool. And then go to new test. This one just has like web page, just put in like one of the courses. We can just try this one, OpenEDU. Go like, I don't know, new test, and then put this one in. Here we go. Might have some code on the back end. So this one doesn't have a code, but let's check this one. Might have some code. Course, it says the course has got an error. So this one has an error. Property breadcrumb not recognized. So something to look at, right? Something to look at. Breadcrumb list. Obviously, it says error, so it's red. So probably needs to be sorted. FAQ as well. Cool. So those are the things I'll look at, right? Add schema on there as well. Oops. Copy this. All right. Next thing, let's go to off-page, right? Off-page strategy. So let's just take first three results. So go to Ahrefs, go to link intersect. Just take the first three results. 1, 2, 3. I can take Deacon as well. Take that one. We don't really need this one. All right, so let's see like the commonalities between these two. So there's a lot of common backlinks, which is good. What I'm also more interested in is what's like we could do a batch analysis as well. Probably would have been a better idea. All right. So Deacon has the highest amount of DR. So again, in this situation, the website with the highest DR isn't necessarily the one that's going to rank on top, right? So it really is about relevancy. So this one has the lowest amount of referring domains, probably because it is on a subdomain. Study online, which is really interesting. So we could probably just look at this one on like an individual level. So actually just have a look at like what the links are pointing to this particular website. That's probably a better way to do it. So just because there's less backlinks and it's probably easier to manage. So it's got a link from PayPal, which is pretty cool. PayPal, safest online payment methods. That's pretty interesting. That's real cool. That's an awesome link there. If it actually is here. What's the anchor text? So how common is cybercrime in Australia? That's an amazing link. I don't know where it is though. It's not showing on this page. So it must have been removed. So having a look at like the actual profile, so like what are the links? So they've got PayPal, but I don't think there's any other like big name links. So the first thing that I'll look at is like press articles or press releases, like, or big articles like PayPal, right? That's a good one. Yeah. So that's your first. So your first thing you're looking for in the strategy is, can you get some big links? Because you're a university, can you start to outreach to big companies, right, that relate to you? Can you do that, right? So this one has one example of that. That's great. The next thing you want to look at is like, what else in the strategy can you look at, right? So Get Happy. What's this one? So what's the actual Masters of Human Resource Management? Yeah, it's just it's like a lot of, this looks like a bit of a spammy, like you don't want to be looking at like blogs with like AdSense on there, because those ones typically get like penalized. So you can actually like have a look at the results on this one. So if we go ahead and take that website, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like, I mean, I'm just guessing, but I wouldn't be surprised if this website's being like hit with like a penalty. Yeah, that's what I thought. So this website's basically tanking, and any website, I've been doing this for a long time. So any website that has AdSense on there, firstly, that's a red flag. So I'm going to go ahead and put like a red flag area here. So I'll do like a red. So AdSense, no. And then also traffic decrease. So as you can see, that particular site has like a massive traffic decrease. And then also USA. Why is the traffic coming from the USA when it's an Australian university? Doesn't make any sense to me. So point is with this one is like, you want to have guest posts or posts that are relevant, less backlinks within the site. So for example, look how many like websites this is pointing to, like so many. Like typically, like you want around 3 to 4 per article. It's like being smashed. Like it's just such a like spammy article. So I'd get rid of that. So looking at that, and then last thing And without going into too much more detail, last thing I'd probably look at is the anchor text profile, really. So you used to be able to do that here. I don't know if you can still do it. They keep changing this layout. Where is it? Anchor text. Anchors. Here you go. Changed it. All right. So here's what doesn't make sense to me, right? This is an online version of ECU. Like, why would cyberbullying, that keyword cyberbullying, have the highest anchor text? It doesn't make sense to me. The highest anchor text should be with a university name. So I'm really bullish on doing links to the homepage of the website because it makes it look more legit. It's very unlikely that 16 websites will point to a website with the exact text Masters of Cybersecurity. Like, these anchor texts look very spammy. When one website refers another, what's more natural is like a website's going to like mention like investment or like 39% of people quitting or whatever that is. Like, it's very unlikely that hundreds of websites are going to point to a university and like say the exact university course. So last thing that I would look at is combo of exact phrase and homepage links. So what I'm saying here is effectively that you need to make this look legit, right? So if you start getting backlinks that look non-legit, so like all the backlinks are pointing to a particular page on the university, it just doesn't look real, right? It's just not natural. So what you want to be doing is you want to be sending like 50% of your backlinks to the homepage with the university brand, and then do like a phrase match, like Masters of Education by RMIT or ECU or by OpenEDU, right? And then what you want to do is like you want to just make that anchor text like so random that Google will never be able to catch you doing this type of off-page SEO. So I've covered a lot today. I'm really passionate about this particular space. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and